Okay, we're back again, and we left off on page 209 at the bottom on point 5, Parable of the Medicinal Herbs. And I'll wait to add my additional thoughts for the next video, I guess. I want to continue through this first 9 if I can. Point 5, Parable of the Medicinal Herbs. Text. Again, there are sons of the Buddha, which means that those princes become the Buddha. All right. Again, there are sons of the Buddha who devote their minds solely to the Buddha way, constantly practicing mercy and compassion because they expound the law, knowing that they themselves will attain Buddhahood. They're assured of it. They already know they are. If Dad's a Dharma king, I will be as well at some point in time. That's the assurance we all have actually is from Nichiren. All right. Top of page 10, glosses on the right. Constantly, the three existences of past, present, and future. This is talking about the eternally endowed three bodies. You'll never get rid of them, and you've always had them, regardless of the life that you're talking about having manifested in. Mercy and compassion is the daimoku, because this is the key that unlocks it all without any more understanding than faith in the truth of the daimoku. They themselves, all living beings, everybody has this. It's nothing makes anybody special. Okay? It's nothing special. It's what's already there in everyone. Glosses on the left, devote their minds, to have full command of. To devote your mind means that you've studied and you understand the teaching to the point that you can actually express it to another person and help them understand it. Okay? Constantly means always, every moment. That's difficult, but if your Buddha nature is alive and you're doing Gongyo and chanting Daimoku every day, you're keeping it alive. All right? So constantly is constantly. Knowing that they, etc., the living beings, creating their own wisdom. This is one of my favorite parts because this is the truth. This is the wisdom that comes without being taught or without being told. You actually derive it from your own reward body. Okay, and then subsequently, if you can move it up to your Dharma body, even more so. But knowing that they, creating their own wisdom and becoming Buddhas. All right, that single moment of life when you realize you are a Buddha, and you always have been. Stage 6 of practice actually comes from a single moment of life of your own wisdom to finally accept the teaching for exactly what it is, and to suddenly go, oh my God, it's me too? It makes you cry. Summary, this passage makes absolutely clear the attainment of Buddhahood in times to come. It's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to continue to happen. That is, it refers to Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, which will last throughout the 10,000 years of Mappo and beyond. Okay, point 6 from the chapter Bestowal of Prophecy. Text, where these Buddhas are, he will constantly carry out Brahma practices, and for immeasurable kalpas will uphold and embrace the Buddha and the law. The Lotus Sutra reads the Buddha law. Okay, that Daishonin explicates it as breaking it to the Buddha and the law, because he's now brought Nam-myoho Renge-kyo that had been hidden in the depths when this phrase from Lotus Sutra was actually expounded by Shakyamuni. He's qualifying it now. It's the latter day. We read it as the Buddha and the law. All right. Glosses on the right. Where these Buddhas are, the living beings of the 10 worlds, are Buddhas who are the true aspect. All of them, every one of these living beings is the true, possesses within them the true aspect of all phenomena. They're all actually manifestations of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Constantly carrying out Brahma practices will constantly abide through the three existences. So again, it's not about our sexual activity like Brahma practices would be almost a precepts kind of a thing. All right, but in the Daishonin's understanding, there's no difference between good and bad. There's no difference between anything. It's all exactly the same. It's all really Nam-myoho Renge-kyo at its most fundamental level. So he's saying constantly carry out Brahma practices, will constantly abide throughout the three existences, will constantly be there and be remanifest forever, as it has been since beginningless time, for a time without beginning, Kuan Ganjo. For immeasurable kalpas, earthly desires are enlightenment, and the sufferings of birth and death are nirvana. For immeasurable kalpas, we will all manifest and remanifest and remanifest and remanifest. And each time we will be living as living beings. We'll have all 9 realms in our lives, and we will attain Buddhahood in our present form. And because of that, the sufferings of birth and death are nirvana. It's only in a manifest state of life that we're able to bring forth that 10th world of Buddhahood and share it with others. So it says, summary, when this passage speaks of constantly or for immeasurable kalpas, it is referring to the wonderful law that it exists in one's original state of life, okay? The state of Kuan, the state of beginningless time, are eternally is without beginning, eternally endowed 3 bodies. That is, it is referring to Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, okay? All right, did you follow that? He's qualifying that all of this really boils down to Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and understanding that all of it seems like it's a lot of different thoughts and a lot of different contemplative premises. No, it's really understanding that everything always, the answer is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I think every one of the passages that I've read ends in Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, or enlightenment is the same thing. Parables, page 211, the parable of the phantom city. Text, when I look at that far off time, it seems like today. Glosses on the right, that far off time, major world system dust particle kalpas ago. Glosses on the left, when I look at that, the time when the Buddha was in the world. Okay, so he's talking about the difference between when the Buddha's manifest in the former, in his single lifetime, versus the eternity of major world system dust particle kalpas, which is what he qualifies his lifespan actually has been. All right, summary, this passage is speaking of the original one moment of life, which is also the Dharma realm. And saying that outside of the one moment of life, or the Dharma realm, that's why I keep saying to my close friends, you're a single moment of life away from Buddhahood. If you don't perceive yourself as that 6th stage of practice, that 6th stage of practice is nothing more than that one moment of life realization of the Dharma realm. That's when the Dharma body becomes manifest. You are a Buddha exactly as you are, and you continue on in the 9 worlds, but you don't have any question about that identity. No further question. All right? Let me start again. Summary. This passage is speaking of the original one moment of life, which is also the Dharma realm, and saying that outside of the one moment of life, or the Dharma realm, the 6 paths and the 4 noble worlds do not exist. So outside of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, there isn't anything that has an existence that doesn't include Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. There is no other existence. Okay, so the 10 worlds, which is what the 6 paths and the 4 noble worlds pertain to, the 10 worlds are all manifestations of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, he's saying. It is speaking of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I should have just read it, keep reading. The one moment of life that permeates the 3 existences of past, present, and future. The word today indicates the today of the latter day of the law, when Nam Myoho Renge Kyo has been taken from being hidden in the depths of the Lotus Sutra, and we're in the 5th 500-year period and beyond. We're in the latter day of the law. Okay? Point 8 on 211. Prophecy of enlightenment for 500 disciples. Text. When the poor man saw the jewel, his heart was filled with great joy. I think this is the poor man. Must be the parable of the son. At any rate, when the poor man saw the jewel, his heart was filled with joy. Glosses on the right. Poor man, all the living beings in the country of Japan, because they don't realize that they're actually already thus come ones. The jewel, the daimoku, the gohonzon, the means by which one reveals the fact that you are a thus come one. His heart, the mind and body, which cannot be separated. And outside of the mind and body, there is no Buddha. Okay? So Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is the only thing that's ever present, period. There's not some Buddha somewhere looking down on you and bestowing upon you because of your sincere and great. No, you're deriving all of that from your faith and your action. Okay, and your action reveals your actual faith. Great joy, here's the first word for joy. Earthly desires are enlightenment. The sufferings of birth and death are nirvana. Those are all joy. Okay? Glosses on the left. His heart, the form of the believing mind, the mind of faith. His heart, the form of the believing mind, which is the mind of faith. Summary. This passage refers to the great joy, not temporary happiness, but the great joy that cannot be destroyed of knowing and realizing your Dharma body is manifest and feeling it and seeing it and comprehending it because of the change that's occurred instantaneously, and realizing all of this has always been talking about you being a Buddha, and you never took it, you didn't really believe what the teaching was. And it's that moment of going, oh my God, it's me. Summary, this passage refers to the great joy that one experiences when one understands for the first time, that's that sixth stage of practice, that one's mind from the very beginning has been a Buddha. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is the greatest of all joys. Point 9 on the top of page 212, and then excuse me if I get a little emotional, and I know I'm speaking louder as though I'm preaching, because I am. I'm preaching the law. I'm a teacher of the law. Prophecies conferred on learners and adepts. Text, page 212. He dwells securely in the Buddha way. The Lotus Sutra reads the Buddha's law. Okay? The Buddha way. The Daishonin has requalified this phrase from the sutra, and thereby seeks the unsurpassed way. Now, the Buddha way is Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. The unsurpassed way is to attain Buddhahood in your present form. Glosses on the right, Buddha way, the entire Lotus Sutra, the entire teaching, the 28 chapters. Unsurpassed way, the Daimoku, because it supersedes having to go through those 28 chapters. It's the essence of those 28 chapters, what was to be derived, the reward of going through those 28 chapters. Glosses on the left, the Buddha way, broad and abbreviated discussions, not the specificity of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. That's what the entire Lotus Sutra is broad and abbreviated discussions, okay? Qualifying as expedient means the manner in which you are already exactly as you are, a Buddha, not in some future lifetime, as all these prophecies conferred on learners that this chapter is all about. Everybody's going to attain Buddhahood, yeah, but they're all going to attain Buddhahood in the future sometime. So he's saying unsurpassed way, the essential point. The essential point is that you're already a Buddha exactly as you are. Risoku and Kukuyo Soku are identical, okay? Alternative reading, though he dwells securely in the Buddha way, yet he seeks the unsurpassed way. Okay, so though he dwells securely in the Buddha way, which he's already qualified as the 28th chapter Lotus Sutra, and the unsurpassed way being the essential point of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, he goes summary. This passage is saying that when one first comes to understand and realize the wonderful principle of the three bodies of the Buddha that we have always been endowed with, this is called seeking the unsurpassed way. This is Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. And when you hit stage 6 and you realize you're a Buddha exactly as you are, your Dharma body has become manifest. Okay, so that's the only time you can really say that you perceive the three bodies, because until you manifest the Dharma body in a manner in which you say, I am a Buddha exactly as I am, you haven't really understood what the Dharma body is. It's been theoretical. You actualize it through your own revelation. This is and realize the wonderful principle. That's that single moment of life. that of the three bodies of the Buddha, that means you understand the three bodies, which means you understand the Dharma body that have always been endowed with. You have always been endowed with. This is called seeking the unsurpassed way. This is Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. You are now a person, a Buddha, and worthy of the title of honor of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. You are a Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, thus come one, because you're a disciple of Nichiren, utilizing his teaching for the sake of revealing your Buddhahood to the rest of the world and helping them attain the same state of life that you have. Point 10, the teacher of the law chapter. Text, know that persons such as these freely choose where they will be born, because we emerge from the ninth consciousness reflecting the karma that we've created of our own accord. Okay? We decide what kind of circumstance we're born into, not anybody else. How do we decide that? Is it like a conscious decision? No. Through our actions, we've made that decision. Okay? Who we manifest as a human being. How much did we go into the process of expressing our Buddhahood and sharing it with others and transforming the Saha world into the Buddha land? Okay, what was our effort? What makes Daisaku Ikeda a great person? It's the efforts in his life that he established and manifests. All right, so again, teacher of the law. You're all teachers of the law. I just said a minute ago, I'm a teacher of the law. I wasn't being arrogant. I was qualifying. I understand what this point is saying. Okay, and it's not arrogant to know the truth and understand the truth and perceive the truth. You're just qualifying what it is equal. Everybody's equal to me. I'm not better than anybody in saying that I'm a teacher of the law. No, teacher of the law, point 10, text, know that persons such as these freely choose where they will be born. Freely choose comes from Buddhahood. If Buddhahood, the ninth consciousness, allows you to freely choose. If you don't make it to the ninth consciousness, you don't get to freely choose. Your karma will reflect it. Freely choose is the process of knowing that what you're doing in creating karma is already establishing what will be and being completely at ease with that. Glosses on the right, freely choose the land of eternally tranquil light. Freely choose. Ninth consciousness, the Buddha land. Summary, this page is saying that outside of each instant of thought of our deluded minds, our nine-world minds, there is no Buddha mind, because in the absence of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo and the Dharma body, we have not yet attained Buddhahood. Okay, so you can't qualify you've got a Buddha mind when you haven't manifested all three bodies, and all three bodies don't become manifest until you get to the sixth stage of practice. That's why developing the reward body through faith, practice, and study is so important, because you can't function as a Buddha in the world unless you understand what the teaching is. Okay, so this passage is saying that outside of each instant of thought of our deluded minds, there is no Buddha mind. Okay, so each instant of our deluded minds is the only place where the Buddha mind exists. It just hasn't manifested yet. There is no outside of your nine worlds, 10th world. The 10th world is always present wherever you are in whatever state of mind you're in. The births and deaths of us living beings of the nine worlds are the true reality, or nirvana. And hence we can freely choose. Chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is being free to choose. We manifest the derived consequence of our actions for the sake of the law, regardless of where that puts us. Okay, so let me say it again. The births, and I'm sorry, but my dog is barking at something. The births and deaths of us living beings of the nine worlds, that's all of us that live in the phenomenal realm, are the true reality. There's no different reality or no better reality separate from the one that we all live in, because we all participate in this opportunity to bring forth our Dharma body and see everything differently and experience everything differently, but it's all up to us and our faith. And hence we can freely choose. We freely choose by virtue of the causes that we make. Chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is being free to choose. chapter 11, emergence of the treasure tower. Text, this way one will quickly attain, this way one will quickly attain the unsurpassed Buddha way. The emergence of the treasure tower, chapter 11. This way one will quickly attain the unsurpassed Buddha way. And by the way, that is a very large dog. Glosses on the right. Buddha way, accepting and upholding. Accepting, which is what? Having faith. And upholding. Continuing, no matter what. That's upholding. That's not giving in to devilish functions or obstacles. All right? Glosses on the left. Unsurpassed way, the ordinary mortal is none other than the highest state of Buddhahood. Risoku is identical to Kukyo Soku. From the important point 13 in the Treasure Tower chapter. Alternative reading: the unsurpassed Buddha way one has quickly attained in a single moment of life. You've quickly attained that unsurpassed Buddha body, that Dharma body has emerged. Summary: this passage is saying if that one is an upholder, a person of the wonderful precepts of perfect and sudden enlightenment, the precept that leads you to chant Daimoku to the Gohonzon until you get through stage 4, stage 5, and reveal stage 6 of practice. And if one attains the 2 stages of near perfect and perfect enlightenment, stage 5 and stage 6, in a single moment of life, this is what it means to quickly attain that single moment of life. To chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo is to quickly attain. That's how we do this. We don't have to go through studying doctrines and going through reading all the previous sutras and understanding the teachings of Shakyamuni. We're disciples of Nichiren. We do it in a completely different manner. We chant Nam-myoho Renge Kyo to the Gohonzon with faith. That's the quickly attained process. Devadatta 12, chapter 12. In the space of an instant, change into a man. Summary: this passage is speaking of the change that occurs when one realizes that the 3 categories of illusions, the 3 categories of illusion, I believe, are illusions of the mind, the body, and the mouth. In their entirety are the 3 truths, non-substantiality, temporary existence, and the truth of the middle way. And when one chants Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, the 3 categories of illusion, actually the 3 categories of illusion then are the 3 poisons. The 3 poisons of greed, anger, and foolishness. Those are the 3 categories of illusions, excuse me. They're not illusions of the mind, body, and mouth, although they are. In their entirety are the 3 truths. When one chants Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, the 3 categories of illusions, greed, poison, anger, and foolishness, are none other than the 3 virtues of the Dharma body, wisdom, and emancipation. As I said a few videos ago, we flip. We don't find the Dharma body and find wisdom outside of ourselves and find the freedom and emancipation that comes from that wisdom. They're already within us. Everybody is born. Not only are they possess the eternally endowed 3 bodies of the Dharma body, the reward body, and the manifest body, but they also reveal the Dharma by hitting the stage 6. It's the 6 stages of practice. They reveal the Dharma body, which now gives us Buddha wisdom. Now we don't have 9 world wisdom, we have Buddha wisdom, all right? And from that comes the emancipation to be Buddhas of limitless joy, because we don't care. You can throw anything at me and I'm going to defeat it. You can kill me. You can't kill me. I never die. I've always existed and I always will. Do your worst. Point 13, chapter 13 at the bottom of page 213. Text: we care nothing for our bodies or lives, but are anxious only for the unsurpassed way. That's called the Buddha of limitless joy. That's total freedom. Glosses on the right: bodies or lives. The element of the body and the element of the mind on page 213 going to page 214. Glosses on the left. So that was glosses on the right. The bodies are lives, the element of body and the element of mind. And outside of body and mind, there is no Buddha. Remember that. Glosses on the right. Care nothing for, never begrudge. We do not begrudge our lives. Like right now, I know my blood pressure is going up. I know that I'm stressing my body. I have people say, well, then maybe you, no. I got to do this because I don't begrudge my life. I don't care if I have a heart attack and die right now. That would be the ultimate way to enter coup. That would be the ultimate way to not ever, ever begrudge my life. Bodies are lives. Even our bodies are lives. So there is no distinction. Even if it means facing death, we never abandon the law, and we always uphold it. All right? Summary, and I've got this circled on page 214. Summary. This passage is pointing out that our bodies and minds have from the beginning been in the nature of evil habits, impermanent. We don't have any lifetime that's been permanent, that has existed exactly as it is without any change or transition. We always go into coup. We always go into non-substantiality and reemerge. And it's based on our actions. How do we reemerge? Do we reemerge like we want to or like we deserve to? Okay? So this passage is pointing out that our bodies and minds have from the beginning been in the nature of the three poisons of evil habits, impermanent and illusory, made up of the four elements and the five components. We're just temporary gatherings of the five components. But the true reality of original enlightenment is something that abides forever. It is Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, the original state, kuan, okay, before manifestation into entity, okay, is actually, again, like with everything else in the phenomenal realm, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is that original state. So what he's qualifying is that all these other aspects are reflections of the original state of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. If you break it down, you only get back to Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, complete and absolute purity, without regard to any evil habits, impermanence, or illusions. Okay? So, and that abides forever. But the true reality of original enlightenment, kuan, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, is something that abides forever. It is Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Continuing on page 214, on peaceful practices, this would put us halfway through the first. This would be the end of the essential, the theoretical teaching. All right. So text: all phenomena are empty without being. We have no permanent self that is always the same in every lifetime. It always reflects the changes that we manifest through our behavior, without any constant abiding, without arising or extinction. Alternative reading: all phenomena are empty without being. Both non-being and being constantly abide. We are constantly in a circumstance where our eternal original state is present, but at the same time we're manifesting the changes that have occurred based on karma and conditions, without arising or extinction. Summary: this passage is saying that since the wonderful law has always abided constantly, kuan, from beginningless time, you can't get to a point where Nam-myoho Renge-kyo has not been, in fact, the primary point of beginning. The coming into being and extinction of living beings in the six paths or the six lower worlds, has from the beginning been a non-coming into being. Therefore, it is because, again, their being is actually Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. So is Nam-myoho Renge-kyo present in people of the six paths? No. Okay, they haven't had the fortune to encounter the law yet in hearing the name and the words of the truth. So that is the absence of. If they haven't heard the name and the words of the truth, then that means that they haven't heard Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. They have not encountered their original state of existence. That doesn't mean they don't have one. It means that they have no connection to it. Therefore, it is said that there is no arising or extinction. There is no arising or extinction. There is no birth or death. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo has from the very beginning been without arising or extinction. It's never ceased to be ever present in in everywhere, in non-substantiality, in temporary existence. It is the truth of the middle way. And with that, we'll stop on chapter 15, Emerging from the Earth, on page 214 the next time we get together. Thank you very much.